Hello, my name is Omar Rampersad. It's Friday, July 27, 2018 at 7:48 p.m. in Toronto. So today's development in the ongoing saga of my being a target. I heard in the workplace that I was evaluated today. In other words, somebody was looking at me at my desk and recording everything I do and say on my computer and evaluating it. This has been done before in other companies that had the contract as well and was actually reporting back to the community and to the cops. So what happens is everything about me is recorded on the computer, and I am suspecting that my desk is being broadcasted within the company as well as probably outside the company as well. Because I hear comments about what I do and say inside of the office outside as well. Um, it could be broadcasted live, or it could be tweeted about, or pictures could be taken, and so on. Anyways, so I believe that I did not pass today. Um, and what was interesting is one person was trying to micromanage me. It's like don't do simple tasks, like don't do it this way, do it this way. And of course, as everybody knows, there are, when there are steps and things to be done, um, and the steps could be varied. They don't have to follow one after the other necessarily. There are different ways to do one thing, is what I'm trying to say. Everybody have their own way of doing it. When somebody's trying to tell you to do it a certain exact way, when there's a million other ways to do it and get the same result, this is micromanaging. It's also implying that you're not very bright. And this is what was going on today. So, as well as this micromanagement, um, there was a lot of harassment in the background as usual. Because as I said before, there's a report about me that is portraying me as criminal. I'm suspected of all kinds of criminal activity. These are all based on suspicions. I also heard that in the report, the cops have absolute evidence that I used to be a prostitute, or absolute evidence to charge me with a crime. And it's absolute. True or not, if it is part of the report, then it lends credibility that it could be true. So I'm being harassed about it. Of course, I was never a prostitute, and still, of course, not. I'm not a prostitute. Don't intend to become one anytime soon. Um, Even though all attempts are being made to paint me as one, to turn me into one, for me to internalize this harassment that's going on. And painting of me as a prostitute. That's the whole idea. This is part of recruitment. Anyway, against this background of constant harassment, as I said before, the floor is open. So everything that's said is, and some of these things I said very loudly, is heard by everyone in the company. It's one floor, one open floor. So everyone hears these remarks. So it's meant to humiliate. It's meant to make you angry, upset, stressed out, ashamed. All these emotions are playing in the background, are supposed to be playing in the background while you concentrate. And I'm still, there are certain things that needs to be learned still. I'm only been on the job for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So I'm still learning the details of some of the suppliers and how it works and so on. So against this backdrop of harassment, I'm doing work that's new, brand new to me sometimes. So I need to memorize it. I need to understand it, concentrate. And against all of this that is going on, I'm being assessed, quote unquote, assessed. Of course, it's meant to make you look foolish, but I got a lot of my work done. I also got the micromanager off my back nicely. And I got a lot of my work done. So I'm not sure what the assessment says, but if the data is pulled from my computer, there'll be evidence that I did get a lot of work done correctly. So anybody who's saying that I'm slow, mentally retarded, and so on, can't concentrate is lying. basically lying, out and out lying. Also, I was outside at lunchtime for half an hour, and as soon as I walked out the door, a taxi drove by, and it was an Indian driver, male, and he drove by me as I was walking to the bench, and he was calling out to me, and there was a black guy in the back seat. He was probably looking for help, but I couldn't help him because I was sure that I wouldn't, I probably would not have been able to help him. There were other people sitting at the bench, which he eventually asked. So I did not respond to him. Um, as I was sitting having lunch, about 20 minutes into my half an hour lunch break, um, a black guy drove up in a blue car. And because I'm sitting there near the entrance, because the bench is near the entrance, of course, it catches your attention, so people will look. Um, he looked past and he drove, and he came and he parked 2 cars away from where I was sitting. And because he was in my line of sight, I could see whether he was getting out of the car or not. He didn't get out of the car. Um, he did look in my direction quite a few times, but after about 4 or 5 minutes, he took off. He was using his cell phone and texting, and then he just drove off. He didn't come out of the car. Um, so that's another black guy. Yesterday was another one who did the same thing, just went in and came out the building in like 30 seconds. And there was a black guy in the taxi that drove up beside me and was trying to get my attention. So this all is not unusual stuff. This is, probably normal things that would happen outside a business environment, workplace. But when I came in, I heard the comment that was a test. She didn't talk to the taxi driver. That was a test comment. So yeah, I'm put through all kinds of tests because of these reports that's floating around in public, and it's part of the experiment that's going on as well. I'm being used in experimentation, and CDs are being created and given to whoever. So the next step of the experiment could be planned. Unwitting experimentation because I'm a target. At the end of this process, I'm supposed to be dead. So it doesn't really matter what kind of experiment is being carried out at me. When I was at another company, I believe I was drugged without my knowing. There was a black woman called Yvette who would come to my desk when I was away at lunchtime, and she would do things like move things around or mess up my reports. My reports that would have to be in a certain order when I'm finished with them, because these monthly reports had to be put together. She'd mess up the order in the report, and I heard a comment, "We drugged you in the kitchen." I also heard that she was working with Rick, who's a black pimp. There was a black guy who was hanging around my workplace there as well. So Rick seemed to be stalking me in my workplace. If the black people who are showing up around my workplace are working for Rick, then Rick is stalking me. Um, so this is ongoing harassment, lying about me because I'm a target, to paint me as a prostitute, or to set me up, frame me, criminalize me, and so on. So I heard also that the people in this building, especially the neighbors across the corridor, is reporting that I have all kinds of men visiting me in my place at night and so on. I haven't had a male visitor in years alone in my unit. So, of course, they're lies, and I'm suspecting that they're working with a monitor. Could be the worker I have in court, could be somebody in the workplace who's contracting or subcontracting, and telling lies, out and out lies, out and out lies. So this is not unusual as a target. They are targeting me. They are targeting me. That's why they're lying. Because they're supposed to. I'm supposed to be degraded, broken down, and destroyed. And this is what they're doing. Talk to you another time. And there, as you probably will be able to tell, there is a lot of interference in this video because somebody's logged into my system. Talk to you another time.